Hi Internet, let's talk about you. So I guess I'll just tell you how I was sort of introduced to Nerdfighteria. I was 11 when I got an iPod Nano for Christmas. I never really had much access to the internet. I didn't know what was on the internet, and so I didn't really care. I really only had access to iTunes. Did any of you do this when you were young and you only really got on a couple websites? Like, did you ever just sit down to iTunes and search a bunch of stuff to kill time? Because I did that a lot. One day, I searched Harry Potter, and I discovered Harry Potter podcasts, most of all Pottercasts. I subscribed and I downloaded all the previous episodes, and I just loved Pottercast so much, and Melissa, John, and Sue, and eventually Frack all just became my best friends. I would wake my sister up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I would be hysterically laughing at something John said. That was a really big deal for me, and some people might think it's kind of sad that, like, Melissa, John, and Sue all became my best friends. I live in a very fundamental Christian town, and most of my friends at that time, if I mentioned Harry Potter, they would tell me I was going to hell. It was not a good situation for me to be in. Yeah, it was a pretty big moment for me to discover that there were people out there who actually liked the same stuff I did and who were nice. And I think I was 12, and they had guest stars one day, and these guest stars were named John and Hank Green. Do you want me to go ahead and give you my first impression of those two? I thought Hank didn't talk enough and that John was incredibly bored with everything. Obviously, first impressions never really count. Now, at this point, I didn't have any CDs on my iPod Nano. It was a little tiny 2 gig Nano. It didn't hold very much, and so I just deleted all the music and was listening to Pottercast and MuggleCast almost full time. I got an iPod Touch, and as soon as I got an iPod Touch, I had access to YouTube, and I started watching all the Vlogbrothers videos, and I watched them in order. I learned some new words. Thank you, Hank. And that's pretty much it, right up until the time where my mom started discussing getting me a computer. And I was like, okay, well, I could start vlogging, and I could actually start participating in the community. I can actually do stuff, because up until that point, it was really only listening to podcasts about all the amazing stuff going on in the fandom and watching John and Hank talk about all the amazing stuff going on in that community. So someone wrote on my wall and invited me to join a collab. Unfortunately, they were looking someone in between the ages of 21 and 25, and I'm not in between those ages. I was still using the iSight camera on my Mac, and my room is kind of dark, so, I mean, they couldn't really tell how old I was. I was not able to join that collab, and it was very sad. But then the wonderful Sophie commented on the collab invitation and said, I'm looking for someone to collab. You want to collab? And I was like, sure! And then we didn't talk for 3 months. I feel really bad about that. I think it was last fall sometime, early in the fall, late in the summer, and Sophie does a vlog, and she mentions the collab, and she says that she has like 4 people signed up and they're still looking for the last one. So I message her and I'm like, yay, collab! And then she's like, wait, you still want to do it? I thought you weren't interested anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I still want to do it. And so she hadn't added me to the list of people who wanted to collab. And so, yeah. And she was like, this loser who never contacted me back still wants to do it. And so thank you for still letting me participate, even though I was really bad at keeping in touch. Talk about exactly how Nerdfighteria has affected me. The group of people I participated with, especially the homeschoolers. When I was 11, 12, 13, that was the only attitude I knew. I didn't really have any place to go, like any friends to actually go over and visit. It's a very important community to me, and I wouldn't quit the community for the world. I'm very grateful. Nerdfighteria in general has just been part of my childhood and part of my growing process. I mean, I was 12 and now I'm 16. That's 4 years of my life, and so when I go back and I look at my social development and everything, the internet and Nerdfighteria is just part of that. I think I really put a lot of unnecessary expectations on Nerdfighteria. It is a very treacherous thing to believe a person is more than a person, and it's very treacherous to believe that a group of people, even though they're nice, are more than a group of people. I'm talking about the little flaws, the tiny things that make people human. Everyone is human. That's what Nerdfighteria has taught me, but Nerdfighteria has also taught me that human is a good thing. I had a much more specific point in my head, but I'm having a really hard time wording it, so I'll just address all of you next week because I'm definitely out of time. Bye!